Welcome back to yet another Resilient Entrepreneur podcast. This is Kevin Johnson of Leverage Consulting, and guess what? I've got another question for you today, and that is, how do you interview people for your circle? And you might think, well, what do you mean by my circle? When I say your circle, I'm talking about the people who you are around on a regular basis. It may be people who work for you, people who have to report to you. It may be people that you have to work with on a regular basis, people who are your vendors. All those people that I'm mentioning are in your circle. And some of those people, you have to think about it as it's an interview. Maybe some of these people you need to have closer to you, like in the last podcast I delivered for you. I talked about the people who are your judges and supporters, and this is really part of it. So, listening to this podcast, think about all of this as being an interview. Do you want this person in your circle, or to what extent? Some people actually have levels. They have their inner circle, and then maybe there's an outer circle and something in between. So, I've got 5 things that you should be thinking about when you're interviewing someone for your circle. And again, that circle might apply to the job that you're trying to hire someone for. So I think most times, and this is number 1, most times when people are thinking about, I need to fill a position, and it could be one where we just lost someone, unfortunately, we would love for them to stay, but it didn't work out, or their spouse got transferred, whatever it was. But we need to backfill a position. We need someone to fill this role. Maybe it's a new role we just created. And most times when we think about, I have to hire someone for this position, the first and foremost thing we think about is, do they have the skill set? When I read these job descriptions, you must know this software, you must have had 5 years experience, you must have, and it's all skill set stuff, which is great. And you do need those things. I wouldn't want a stock trader who doesn't know what they're doing. I certainly wouldn't want a doctor who didn't know what they were doing. So we do think about skill set, but I think you'll agree with me once I get through this, it's not everything. So first and foremost, we look for skill set. And, it's funny, I see some of these Instagram and social media posts, and, people are making them kind of funny, and it's, tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich. Well, think it like that when you're doing the interview. Don't tell me you're great at something, show me. I don't want to hear about how great you are. Demonstrate for me, show me, because the rest of it's just talk and chatter. The second thing you should be looking for is work ethic. And again, I'll go back to my last point about show me. Don't sit here and tell me about work ethic. I want to see it. And work ethic is one of those things that you know it when you see it, but sometimes it's hard to describe. And we can provide examples of work ethic where it's something where even though things are slow at work, we still keep working. We don't find an electronic pacifier, meaning your phone or your watch, to go play with. No, we keep grinding. We keep doing things. We find something out that's the long list of things we always say, well, I never could get to it because I was busy. We go attack that list and get those things done. That would be an example of work ethic. Or sometimes work ethic is an extension or a factor of teamwork, where if I don't have anything to do, then I'm going to go help my coworker and help them get caught up. Those are things that are examples of work ethic. So number 1, skill. Number 2, work ethic. Number 3, which I'm sure that when I say this, many of you are going to be like, that is actually really important. Number 3 is problem solving. And interestingly enough, I think someone could actually get a degree in this anymore. And I think some people have really forgot that problem solving is really what all of us get paid to do. And no matter what it is, if we could take some entry-level jobs and talk about someone who's a fast food order taker. Well, you're solving a problem. I was hungry and you helped me fill an order. You could be, again, like a doctor. I go to the doctor, I have a pain. You help me figure out what the pain is, the pain goes away. Everything is problem solving. If you're a scheduling coordinator at a dentist's office, you are a problem solver. Every one of us are problem solvers. So it's something that some people excel at and are really, really good at. And I think, again, it's a great thing to have people demonstrate and show you. Don't tell me you're a great problem solver. Explain to me how you've been a great problem solver in the past. Or just listen and observe. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes if we stop talking, they'll fill in the gaps and answer the questions for us. So that was the third thing. Number 4 is positivity. I can find negativity all day long. I don't have to go anywhere. I can get right on social media and boom, there's just loads of it. Sometimes I go to the grocery store. I can find negativity there. Somebody gets crabby about it. They can't find a close parking spot, although we all need to get more steps in. Or the Wi-Fi goes out, or I can come up with a bunch of other things. And it's funny how super small things turn into huge problems. And, again, we can all find negativity anywhere. Positivity is sometimes a rarity, and it's a gem when you find somebody who can find the silver lining in anything. The person who can keep the rest of the team upbeat. The person who walks in the door every morning and they have a smile on their face and they're energetic and they're looking forward to the day, as opposed to, how am I going to be annoyed before the end of the day? So positivity was number 4. The last one, which is really a compilation of so many factors, is trust. And trust is something that you may initially have. Some people grant trust until it's taken away. Some people are a little more reserved and it has to be earned. And I'm a believer in both, actually. I do believe that you need to grant some trusts and then allow people to demonstrate whether they should keep that same trust or whether we need to reel it back. And earlier I said some people have inner circles and outer circles and middle circles. And sometimes if you just at least grant a little bit of trust, they get into that outer circle. And they can demonstrate what they're capable of doing and how much you can truly trust them. When you say, I would trust someone with a deep, dark, secret, the kind of thing that you just don't want getting out, if it's that kind of thing, or if you'd say you trust this person with your life, then I'm going to say that's your inner circle people. And usually it's probably only 5 to 10 people max, but probably more like 5 at most. And then you have that middle circle and outer circle. So trust is a huge thing. And as I said, you have to grant some, but they have to earn it to get closer and closer to the middle. And usually when you think about how they move to the inner circle, it's because they have somehow, way, shape, or form earned it. So you take those 5 things, the skill set, the work ethic, the problem solving, the positivity, and the trust, and you can rank all those things and say, maybe a scale of 1 to 10. And essentially you can take all that and encapsulate it, put it in a bag or put it in a bubble, and you can basically say, this is how well we're going to get along. Because it's funny, if you took something and said, okay, I trust this person with my life, but really they don't have the skill set for what I really need right now, you might trust that they're going to gain that skill set and they're going to meet your expectations in the long run. Maybe there's certain things on that list of 5 things that you may learn you're not willing to compromise. You're not willing to compromise your goal. You're not willing to lower the bar. So for example, trust is one of those things for a lot of people. My wife is an example. Trust is huge. And if we violated the trust or we haven't earned it or something, it's a hot button with her. And I know for other people that positivity, they can kind of be a little elastic with the trust thing, but positivity, oh man, I know one person, if you don't exude positivity on a regular basis, that's kind of a deal killer for them. And for me, it's interesting how I see people who can literally pick up their phone, figure out why an app isn't working, and they can do crazy things to the point of almost being a programmer with their phone. But yet when it comes to other basic things in life, they just don't know how to figure that out. So you have to figure out what is a priority for you for skill sets, work ethic, problem solving, positivity, and trust. And you rank those things, you give it their weight, And when you interview somebody, and sometime, and I would be more concrete with these things and write it out when you're interviewing somebody for an actual job. But maybe if it's just your friends or your associates or just people that you network with or you consider to be your friends, it might not be written down, but you're going to know. So use these 5 factors that basically answer the question of how do we interview people who are going to be in your circle, and use that as a tool to figure out how well you're going to get along with this person. You can be very deliberate with this because these things are going to be factors that play into your immediate future and your long-term future, because as I'm sure you've heard this saying in the past, you're the compilation of the 5 people you're around the most. You're being very deliberate about the people who you are around the most. And quite honestly, if you manage or lead other people, you're also being very deliberate about the 5 people your other team members are around, or the people that your associates are around. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is one that I believe if you take super seriously, you'll see an improvement in just like your overall day-to-day routines in life and your stress levels and eventually your income. As always, if you have questions, comments, or other things you'd love for me to answer in future podcasts, let me know. I've got another really cool podcast queued up for you, and I'm really anxious for you to listen to that one.